Hey everyone, welcome to this newest episode of Games I Speak. I'm Gio,
And I'm Josie.
and today we have a big lineup for you, so let's jump right in. First up, some kind of sad news. Yoshinori Ono, he just resigned from Capcom. Now, I don't believe it's anything negative. It's just he feels that it's time for him to move on in his life. So he made a Twitter post where he kind of made a letter to all the fighting game community, and uh, yeah, it's kind of a change of the old guard. You know, um, basically, he's been one of the highest level producers at Capcom for a long time, and you know, I just think he's ready to move on in his life.
Is he going to still do games, or is he just like retiring completely?
Um, I don't know. I don't think he said anything about games, but it would be one of those things where he would probably feel bad if he jumped right into another game studio. You know what I mean? Um, because he's so intertwined with Capcom. So here's a couple things that I kind of want to discuss about him that for people that don't know him. So apparently he's been at Capcom for around 30 years. That is a very long time. So his lifeblood is in that company. Yeah.
Hmm.
He's an integral part of the fighting game community. Um, so, if you're not aware, the fighting game community is just a group of people that love fighting games. They have tournaments all year round. The biggest one is Evolution. Obviously, that was canceled this year due to some, scandal. But I've attended many tournaments with him, and one of his signature things, which is very it's very funny. It's kind of like a funny thing he does. He has this little Blanca character that he carries in his pocket. It's like this big,
Okay.
and he carries it everywhere. And at the tournament, before they do Street Fighter Top Eight, he'll go on stage with his Blanca character. He'll hold it like this, and he'll go, "Okay, everybody, Shoryuken, 3, 2, 1, Shoryuken," and then the whole crowd does a Shoryuken at once. And he has a picture
Yes.
of him doing it, holding his little blanket doll, and he does that at every tournament. So I've been there,
That
I've
seems
done
really
it.
weird.
What?
That seems really
It?
weird. Why use Blanca, the character that can't do a Shoryuken, while doing the Shoryuken?
Yeah. Well, he kind of has a Shoryuken, but it's a ball. He just like flies up in the air.
Dude, come on. Let's be honest. He doesn't have a Shoryuken. Just admit it.
It's a reversal. It's a reversal. That's
Stop.
the proper term.
Stop.
Um,
Stop. You're...
I don't think it has invincibility
If
frames on it.
Blanca doesn't say Shoryuken, then it's not a Shoryuken.
All
Okay.
right, all right. So
Look. You can't say it. Just I
yeah.
want everyone to see this.
So as far as I know, he's been hands off on Street Fighter Five for some time now. They actually have a new producer now. I don't know his name, but he was in the latest update video they had. So here's the thing that's so important about everything I discussed about him is cool and all, but the thing that makes him so important is that, and a lot of people who are new to the fighting game community don't know this, but in 2008, the fighting game community was almost non existent. It did not exist. The tournaments were very minimal, not many people played. It was just kind of like a dying community. And then on came, and this is a game you and me loved, and we played many times, Street Fighter 4.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, in 2008, Street Fighter 4 came out. So he was I believe he was the producer of that game. And after Street Fighter 4 came out, Capcom helped cultivate this amazing fighting game community that you see now. And you see them still continuing the tradition with the Capcom Pro Tour, the Fighter League. They put up purses at all these tournaments. They have YouTube videos. They bring the fans into the company, and he's a big part of this. So the new wave, the last new wave of the fighting game community. They called them 09ers because they were brought in with Street Fighter 4, and I'm an 09er. And
Gotcha.
and so the newest community, they don't know this about Ono, and they're disrespectful. So I want to say this to you: anyone who is like, good riddance, blah blah blah, you check yourself because you don't know Jack. There would be no fighting game community without Ono, Street Fighter 4, and what Capcom did. So show some respect, and that's my message to the young bloods coming up.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. So, yeah, yeah. I just wanted to bring that up because I respect the guy a lot, and he's a cool dude, and I wish him the best wherever he goes. So next up we have Halo Infinite. So Halo Infinite, they finally just decided to acknowledge reality. And they decided to put the game off to 2021. And they cite COVID-related impacts and that it's hard for them to work from home. And yeah, I mean, I talked about this last week, and I kind of gave my spiel on it that it's better to wait. What's that famous saying from that Japanese developer?
It was Shigeru Miyamoto.
Yeah, what did he say?
And he said, what's it called? A late game is it's only bad for that interim until like it comes out, and then it can be good.
Yeah.
But a game that comes out late can be good, but a game that's bad that comes out is bad forever.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I apologize for butchering
Yeah.
it, but that's a sentiment.
No, that is the sentiment. So what do you think about all this? Do you think it's a wise move for them to just wait?
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago after the Xbox experience, whatever, the Xbox Game Showcase.
Yeah.
And we all harped on Halo Infinite and the fact that it looked kind of last gen.
Yeah.
It didn't look anywhere near the showcase that it should be.
Yes.
Especially for a launch title for the Xbox Series X. And it's unfortunate that they're going to be missing that window, but this is their opportunity. They really need to step it up and sell us on this game. Make it the game that we all kind of want it to be and that it needs to be. The showcase and the system seller.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, they have a gargantuan task in front of them. Now,
I mean, I don't even think years is possible.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
It is, especially in this climate where they have to all work from home or however, like remotely.
Yeah. And as far as I know, the way that they're developing this game is they have the single player open world aspect, and then they have the, super high speed multiplayer aspect. And I know the graphic fidelity is going to be different on both.
They never even showed us multiplayer.
They didn't. Now, one interesting thing that I read during the week was before they decided to delay the game, they were floating the idea of shipping it in multiple parts. So they would release, I guess, the multiplayer or the single player first, and then they would release the multiplayer second. But as you and me know, because we've been around a while, that is a horrible idea, and it usually always backfires.
I mean, and this is one of the predominant problems that I foresee with games coming out as a service or games coming out on these streaming sites or streaming services like xCloud, is that I think that will be the predominant way of how to market a game or sell a game, is that like you're releasing quote unquote a beta build of the game, and you're letting players play it And as people are playing it and giving feedback, then it becomes a living thing that the developers consistently tweak.
Yeah.
And it's never a really complete game.
No.
Uh, so I see that coming along with big titles like this, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it. There's people that are okay with it, but I'm not one of those people, and that's why I speak against it.
Now, I'm okay with it in one condition. And that condition is that it's a free-to-play game. If it's a free-to-play game, then I don't mind it being a game as a service because it's free. You can just play it for free, right? Nobody has to invest some money up front. You play it, you don't like it, you can move on. There's very little risk for the player.
That definition of free-to-play game is changing with the xCloud service because you're not paying for each game. You're paying for the service.
Yeah,
and then you get each game.
I'm talking about 100% free-to-play games. That's the only time that I don't. So, like, for example, like a game you could just download their client and play it free. You don't need a service or anything like that. That's the only time that it doesn't bother me. But like you said, you're already invested on a service. You're already paying a monthly fee for a service. So to me,
Yes.
that's not free to play. That's not free to play to me because you're already paying a monthly service. So.
And they don't see it that way. They'll see it like, okay, well, I mean, while you're waiting for this game or whatever game, there are other games you can play
Yeah.
because as a service, we've got all these titles available to you at any given moment. So as a service, just because we're disappointing you in one game doesn't mean that we can't fill in that gap with the multitude of other games that we have available to you.
Yes. Yeah. But as we've seen with games like No Man's Sky, once you burn the player base, it's very hard to come back. It's so hard
That's
to
a
come
really
back.
great example. That's a really great example
Yeah.
because that's kind of like the same type of situation. Although in No Man's Sky case, there was that upfront charge, like you had to pay for the base game initially, but that game has constantly been changing and morphing in ways that even though it did burn the initial player base,
Yeah.
it has accrued its own player base, and it is arguably a lot of people have been saying, or at least the chatter that I've heard, has been positive for that game.
Yeah.
And the changes that they've implemented.
Yeah.
So much so it's still talked about today. I mean, how long did it come out? In 2017, I
Yeah.
believe.
But they lost
so-
they lost that initial wave that they burned. That's the problem.
Yes.
And that's usually the
Yes.
biggest wave for a game because they build up the hype for the launch, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, it is what it
But
is.
what's to stop any kind of developer from following those footsteps where they're like, we can release this initially and it might not hit, but it'll get better. And I mean, that's kind of like the idea behind Fallout 76.
Oh, yeah.
Fallout 76
That was a dumpster
was
fire.
a complete mess. But you know what
Yeah.
I mean? I mean that's along the same lines as games as a service, and we're just going to keep releasing content and updating it, and hopefully it'll get better.
Yeah.
And then the word of mouth will spread, and it'll sell.
Yeah.
I don't like that future of gaming.
No.
But we'll see what happens, and I hope Halo Infinite can really pick up the pieces.
Yeah. Yeah. So Xbox is promising its users thousands of games spanning 4 generations. So I wanted to bring this up for a couple reasons. One, we've kind of been talking about how Sony promised well, it wasn't promised. It was a rumor.
It was a
Yeah, it was a rumor that the PlayStation 5 was going to have all these, backwards compatibility features. And you and me, we covered a patent for a cloud emulation service. And that's not what we were thinking at all. So we don't know much about PlayStation 5 backwards compatibility. Sorry, I can't talk. But Xbox, they're making a bold claim. So let me go through some of the things that they're claiming here. They have a whole team dedicated to backwards compatibility. So
Cool.
that's huge. They have a whole team of developer. That's their only job is backwards compatibility. They're claiming thousands of titles in backwards compatibility. That is pretty significant. And they're saying almost every single Xbox One game will be backwards compatible. Now,
I feel like that's like unfortunate. It should every Xbox One game should be backwards compatible.
yes. And I heard the reason that they said, from what I gather, um, the reason that they said almost everyone is because they don't expect all of them to be backwards compatible at launch, but their goal is every single one will be backwards compatible. So they just use that wording so that they don't get blasted if one game doesn't work on launch.
Right.
Yeah. And then many games ranging from the original Xbox and Xbox 360, they're claiming will be backwards compatible. So I just wanted to bring this up because I want to see what Sony's going to do now. You know, I mean, what is Sony's response going to be for this? So I mean, what do you think?
I think that that Sony's response is going to be the same as it usually is, which is they'll just ignore it and do their own thing. The same thing happened with the Xbox One X. The Xbox One X, they touted their backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
And they talked about how they were making all these, and by Xbox, I'm just talking about Xbox One, not just the Xbox One X. In terms of Xbox 360 games and Xbox games, they were on a roll. Like Ninja Gaiden's now backwards compatible. Star Wars KOTOR is now backwards compatible. And I mean, Sony didn't need to do anything about it. They just kept chugging along, doing their own thing. Now, in terms of the actual backwards compatibility for Xbox, I'm super excited. Like, I hope the entire Xbox OG library is available to play. I don't know. I think Outrun is not available to play backwards compatible, but also Otogi.
Otogi? Okay.
Yeah, dude. Like Otogi. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then what's it called? And the Xbox 360, just everything should be backwards compatible. I think that would be super cool, and maybe like bring in those old arcade games too.
Yeah.
Remember the old Xbox arcade games? Like maybe bring those back. Get some player goodwill in that regard.
Yeah.
But in terms of a Sony response, they're chugging along. They've got their exclusives. Honestly, they've got more things that are selling that system that are more valuable than Xbox's backwards compatibility.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's an unfortunate truth. I wish Sony would care about backwards compatibility. I have a lot of PS3, PS2, PS1 games that I would love if they, had some kind of magic way in their machine to make it look good through that one system.
Yeah, me too.
And have low input latency.
Yeah.
Yeah,
me too.
But say it again?
Yeah, same here. I mean, I would love to plug in a PlayStation 2 game in my in my new Sony console. That would be awesome,
But for now, they've got the PlayStation Now service, which is their only it's their streaming version of backwards compatibility.
Yeah,
and I working for them. I mean, if anything, they need to really. I can only see them making that service more robust going forward. And having it a la xCloud, but with PlayStation games.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like they have this sinister plan where they're expecting all the old consoles to die off at some point, and you have no choice but to buy a new console or a service to play your favorite, PlayStation 1 game. But I'm here to tell you, it's never going to happen, Sony. It's never going to happen, Microsoft, because we have geniuses.
It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen in terms of whatever hardcore crowd doesn't buy in. But in terms of, I guess, a majority viewpoint, consumers are consumers. and people will buy in just like people are buying into things like all the streaming services that are available
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, there's definitely a guy somewhere who, he doesn't have much space. Maybe he's in college and he wants to play, name it Otage maybe. And then instead of just
Yeah.
buying an Xbox and getting the game, he will just get their service and download it or whatever, however that works. So, yeah, you're right on that front. But for people like you and me,
But
we're going to keep it alive.
well, here's the issue. And this is, in my opinion, the biggest issue going forward that I guess people just don't care. Uh, and I mean, I don't know. It's really frustrating, and that's rights, the consumer rights.
Yeah.
And when you have games that you want to play and they're delisted and you don't have access to them
Yeah.
anymore, that's a problem, especially if you've purchased them and you can't re-download them again.
Now,
So, and I mean, and that's something that happened recently with the Wii eShop. They delisted everything in that Wii eShop. The only way you can access that is through legal channels now.
yeah.
You know, and right now they delisted on the Switch. Pikmin 3 Deluxe is being released on the Switch. Sorry, they delisted the Wii U version
And I
because
covered
they're
that.
re-releasing the game on
Yeah.
the Switch.
I covered that last
Then
week.
Forza 3 Horizon, that's also being delisted on the Xbox. But I mean, I believe that's being delisted, and people in the racing community probably know better than most because of music rights. I mean,
Oh, okay.
the Rockstar needed to go back and remove digitally through a patch. So if you were to play Grand Theft Auto 4 right now and you were connected online, you wouldn't be able to listen to certain music that's actually on the disc because they lost the
Okay.
rights
Okay.
to certain music. So the only way to play it without patches that are fixed game breaking bugs and
Yeah.
stuff like that is to play it offline.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so like things like that, like I don't have to worry about rights management for Burnout 3 because I have that game on disc, play it on my Xbox.
Yeah.
But with all these newer games and as everything's moving to digital, you have less control over the things you buy. And that's not a good look for
No.
anyone.
No, not at all. Um, so, oh, I do want to tell you one thing. I don't know if this is true, but the developer of the Scott Pilgrim game on the Xbox arcade shop,
Yes.
the one that was removed, he's in talks apparently with Ubisoft to re-release the game. So,
Yeah, and that was delisted. It
yeah, that
famously delisted.
famously delisted. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, all I can say is that I fully agree with you, and that's why you and me do our best to preserve as many games as we can. So,
Yes.
all right. Next up, this Sony. This is a rumor, so disclaimer. So, this is an insider who claims that Sony has approached every major third party um, to try to get exclusive rights on some of their biggest titles. Now, because this is a rumor, um, I can't really confirm.
Speak to the quality of it.
Yeah, but I just want to say that it shows a couple things. It shows a stark contrast between what Sony's trying to do and what Xbox is trying to do, or Microsoft is trying to do. Microsoft is trying to have this, 100 game library that anybody can play on their computer, their Xbox, and their phone. They're trying to get as many titles out there as possible, but they're not trying to restrict them to just their console because they want you to be able to play everywhere. And then Sony, they're going the exclusive route where they're like, no, you have to have a PlayStation to play this game. So, and it's been a winning. I can't. It's been a winning formula for Sony this past generation. That's just how it is. Um, they have been getting a lot of players because of their exclusive titles. I mean, Ghost of Tsushima. That is a wildly popular game, and it's amazing. And you can only get it on a PlayStation. And now, part of the thing here is that they the rumor says that they're offering top dollar, so they're going and they're just trying to buy these games. And apparently, the rumor also says that Microsoft isn't willing to compete with their offering the cost that they're willing to pay.
They're not able to compete, probably because they're spending
Yeah.
money buying studios
Yes.
that aren't
Now.
the games.
Yes. Now, this might be. There's a lot of Sony fans out there. I love PlayStation. I've had it forever. I had the first PlayStation. That was one of my favorite consoles of all time. But when I was a kid, I used to hate console exclusives. I used to hate the fact that only my friends could play Final Fantasy when I had a Sega Genesis. You know, it used to drive me insane. And as I got older, I have enough money where I can buy multiple consoles. But let's be real, not everyone can. And I don't think that trying to go around buying up all these games and just console locking it is good for gamers. It makes me feel like we're going backwards to the days where, if you had a Sega Genesis, you couldn't play certain games. If it just, I don't know. How do you feel about it?
I disagree.
Okay.
I disagree, and the reason being is the reason why Sony's winning the console war right now. Exclusives are
Yeah.
incredibly important, and yes, I will concede that back in the day it was a huge problem because as kids we couldn't gain access to whatever the Super Nintendo had versus the Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
And that problem exists right now in terms of the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox One.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're really these are all products, and you're making a decision as to which product speaks the most to you. So if one person only has Nintendo Switch, then I mean you're wearing a Zelda shirt. Zelda's only been on the Nintendo consoles. So
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
so if
I
you
know.
want a Zelda game, you buy a Nintendo console,
Yes.
and that's a selling point. These people aren't here for charity. They're trying to sell a product, and the best way they can do that is via exclusives. What
Yes.
titles do they have that's most enticing to you? Back then, I was a Sega Genesis kid, and what was enticing to me was stuff like Sonic, was stuff like Streets of Rage. I loved Vector Man, and Earthworm Jim was arguably the best on the Sega Genesis. I'm just saying. Mortal Kombat had
Yeah.
blood on the Sega Genesis version, while Super Nintendo didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
By the way, they're announcing a new Earthworm Jim. The trailer did not look good, but apparently it's going to be exclusive for the new Amiga console coming out.
that just sounds rough. All
It does.
all around that sounds
Yeah.
rough.
It
Right.
does sound rough.
But in terms of the exclusives, I mean, Sony is playing the game while Xbox isn't, and I think that's Xbox's problem. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird because we're having this discussion about not having exclusives, but at the same time dictating our purchases because of exclusives, not
Yeah.
just solely on the hardware.
Yeah.
And and that's why we were talking about Halo Infinite the way that we were. It's because it's exclusive and it needs to sell, and it doesn't look like it is. It looks like it's taking a giant step back when it should be
Yes.
when it should be a showcase. So
Yeah.
I think Sony is right in doing so, and Xbox, I think they're kind of like grandstanding a little bit and like, no, we're not doing this, but they used to do it. They had console exclusivity for a number of items. I think Modern Warfare Remastered was a pretty big one.
Yes.
Wasn't that exclusive for like a year or something like that? They've played
I believe
the
so.
game. They've been a part of it, and now they're just
Yeah. No.
we're no longer.
They're all guilty.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're all guilty. But what I'm saying is there's a difference between having some exclusives and going to every single third party studio and trying to hoard all their games. Because that's what I look at it like. I look at it like hoarding. Like, no, no, you have to come to PlayStation. Don't go to PC. Don't go to Xbox. Don't go to Switch. You have to come to PlayStation. I look at that as an anti consumer practice. Every single third party, wrap your head around that. That means they're going to try to get Grand Theft Auto. That means they're going to, you know what I mean? Like, there's some games that I just want to play on my computer, even though I have a PlayStation. I would just rather play it on my computer. You know, there's
You're saying that as you're saying that you're also defeating the purpose of getting a PlayStation 5. Why get a PlayStation 5 if you want to play them on PC?
because the whole point of a look. I'm not saying that. The reason I like consoles is because of the convenience factor, and also because of the fact that I can buy the physical media. You can't buy the physical media for PC. You know, they don't sell physical PC games anymore. They don't exist. So as a collector, I prefer consoles for that, right? But some games just run better on PC, man. That's just the way it is. All the Dark Souls games are way better on PC. Way better. And you know me, I've always played the Dark Souls games on PC for that reason. And it just seems like it just seems greedy to me to try to purchase all these games and just console lock them. I mean, it just seems greedy. That's just how I view it.
I mean,
I mean,
an argument against that would be that even first party exclusives like Death Stranding and Horizon Zero Dawn recently came out on PC. And so it doesn't exclude them completely from coming out on PC, but on other consoles it does. Now, would that change your mind at all?
yeah, that would change my mind because that would be better because there's so many PC gamers and most people have a PC. A lot of people have a PC because of school or work or whatever.
Yeah, but a gaming PC versus a PC to do schoolwork is completely different.
I know. But what I'm saying is that they already have the base hardware. You know, they could buy a graphics card for it or whatever, right? Um,
Usually
but
that kind of like avalanches into requiring other things.
yeah,
But like a better motherboard or a better what's it called, cooling system, what have you.
yes. But I will say this
Power
to all the
supply,
people.
different power supply.
Yes, to all the people out there who think PC gaming is so expensive and unreachable, I could make you a gaming PC just as powerful and as smooth as any of the consoles out right now for around 500 or less. Probably around 400. I could probably do 400. If you already have a monitor and a case, I could lower it even further. So it's
We're gonna do that. I'm already stating right now. I asked Geo offline to make me a gaming PC. Now we're gonna put it to the test, and we're gonna make a
okay.
video. How about that?
And tell them I've already helped you make a gaming
You
PC
did.
before.
You did.
Yeah.
It was a Steam
Yeah.
box,
It was a Steam box.
and I have a 400, no, not 400, sorry, 4 terabyte hard drive in there. It's not really able to play the like Xbox 360 level games that well, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. But at the
But
time it was good, right?
at the time, it was fantastic. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
Like
at
I
the
can
time.
play
Yeah.
like
So,
PS2 level games,
okay.
and I didn't spend that much on it either.
No.
So
Yeah.
so if anything, I need to upgrade badly,
Yeah.
and I would like to be able to play Death Stranding on maximum settings.
Yeah. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm being too guarded here because the way I read it was like they were trying to get exclusives and just keep it on PlayStation forever. That's the way I read it. Now, if they were doing it like year-long exclusives, then yeah, that's not as bad because, and also it's bad for developers.
I
I
mean,
mean,
they did that with Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's a year-long exclusive on Sony. It'll be releasing on Xbox within the year.
yeah, yeah, it's bad for developers too, though. And the
I
only
disagree.
you don't think only selling your game on one platform is bad for your business?
So this is why it is so enticing for developers to do these exclusivity deals is because of the amount of money that's being thrown to them initially. And that's why you see that that's what was happening exactly with the Epic Game Store, especially with developers that are like indie developers, because
Yeah, but
they're getting
yeah,
huge influx of cash right from the get-go before even selling a game. And
yes,
that
okay,
go ahead.
okay, yes, but there's a big difference here, and the difference is there's a difference between getting funded to build a game and going to studios and trying to buy their already games that they're working on and hoard them on your system.
That's
That's
totally
the
different.
difference. That's the difference that I'm trying to make a line here, right?
Okay.
I'm not against funding a new game. No, no, don't get me wrong. Sony saved Street Fighter. Sony saved Street Fighter because when Street Fighter 4 was kind of like dying off and the new generation was coming, Capcom didn't have enough money to make a new Street Fighter. So Sony came along and they're like, "Hey, we'll help you build this game, and we'll pay for it, but it's going to be exclusive on PlayStation." And then like a year later, it went to PC. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about already games that are being developed that studios are trying that studios have money for. They're already developing them. They want to release them to a wide range of gamers, and Sony coming and say, "No, no, no, no. Here, take this money and just we'll just keep it on our system." That's
I don't see a huge difference though. Especially
I see a huge difference.
especially if they need an influx of cash or, profit from the get-go, because studios, they're not doing this for free and they're losing money as they're developing games. That's why games as a service is
Yeah.
so enticing to studios, because they can keep developing it as they're getting money coming in, some kind of
Yes.
revenue stream coming in. So,
Yeah.
like, I don't see a huge difference between a game that's already been developed and getting cash in to assist before selling the game versus a game that's in development or a game that hasn't even started development yet. I think
I see it.
I think it's very, very similar, more similar than different.
It is similar, but this is the way I'm viewing it. I'm not viewing it as studios going to Sony and asking for help. I'm viewing it. The rumor says is that they're going to all the studios and trying to hoard all the games.
Mm.
That's the rumor. That's what I'm against. I don't think it's good to just go everywhere and try to buy up all the games. That's a monopolistic type behavior.
Gotcha.
You know,
Yes.
that's what I'm against. I'm not against seeding an indie developer to make a new game. I'm not against helping a game that normally wouldn't even come out unless they helped them. I'm against going around trying to hoard all the games and lock them on your system. That's what I'm against. Because these developers aren't asking Sony for that. The rumor is that Sony's going to them and trying to get their games, not them going to them and asking for help. I think that's totally different. And that's it's very complicated. This is very complicated, and I appreciate your view, and I think your view is very valid, um I think I'm making a view, but I'm trying to narrow my view down to a type of behavior that is kind of greedy.
Anti-consumer. I
Yeah, it's
understand. No,
anti-consumer.
no, no.
Yeah, so
I appreciate it.
yeah, yeah. I think we covered that pretty well. Hey, I know this is going to be a heated issue, so if you have an opinion, leave a comment.
Yeah,
Let us know what
let us
you
know
think.
how you
Yeah.
feel.
All right, next up, Control. Uh, so this is a game that is very popular. It got Game of the Year in many publications last year. You and me were actually surprised by how many people gave it Game of the Year.
And oddly enough, I started it and I couldn't get into it. I need to give it another chance, but
Yeah,
I don't know. This new news might stifle that.
yeah. So let's. Why don't since you're the one that brought it up? Why don't you kind of let everyone know what happened here?
So Control came out in 2019, and I believe this is an Epic game, right? It was developed by Remedy, the people behind Alan Wake and Quantum Break. And the game itself is, it's out on Xbox One, PS5, and I forget what the service is called, but Xbox is doing a service where when you purchase a game on Xbox One, you don't have to repurchase it for the Xbox Series X. I know Cyberpunk
Smart delivery.
Smart delivery. Thank you.
Smart delivery. Yeah.
They're doing smart delivery, and so Epic Games is re-releasing Control, the Ultimate Edition, with the DLC that's already been released and new DLC that's about to come out.
Yep.
That's like an Alan Wake crossover. And they're re-releasing it in a $40 package, and they're saying this is the Ultimate Edition. And this edition is the edition you require for smart delivery. If you've purchased the game initially back in 2019, that game will not work with smart delivery, and you won't be able to play it on Xbox Series X, which is a huge blow to people that have already purchased the game, like myself. And you can even, and here's the sticker on that, is that you can actually purchase the DLC for the game that you already own, in that you don't have the Ultimate Edition. So you have access to the DLC, you have access to the game, but in terms of smart delivery, you have to pay for the Ultimate Edition version with that $40 price tag in order to have smart delivery, so you can have the game twice, both on Xbox One X and Xbox Series X. Which is just a dirty anti-consumer move, especially for people that have already bought into the game and have lauded it.
Yeah, and I think I read a comment. Someone said that if you were like a let's say you were a fan of the game and you bought the original game,
yes,
when it came out, and then you bought the 2 DLCs, you paid $85.
Yep.
You paid almost $100, and so so this is how I think about it. It's okay. So it's almost like they're penalizing the actual fan base of the game, because the fan base of the game, they already have the game, they already played the game, they already bought the DLC, right? So it's almost as if they're penalizing their most like hardcore players of the game by not giving them access to the next gen, and then it is a dirty move to get their base to buy the game twice. I mean, that's what it looks like to me. So my advice is don't buy it again.
Don't support
That's
it.
my advice. Yeah, don't support it.
Which is why it stifled my interest in even going back to the game for the time being. I mean, I do want to give it a fair shake. I feel like my initial impressions were just like, meh, it's okay. It's not that great.
Yeah.
But I only played it for like a few hours. So, but it looks like a cool game, and I do want to enjoy it if I can. But at the same time, it's like, if this is what the company's doing, why?
Yeah, this is not cool. I don't like this.
No, and I foresee this happening with other games that they're trying to get their that double dip.
Yeah, it's frustrating, and they're all doing it. Everyone's doing it. The only people who aren't doing it are, small studios and indie developers, because, they're just trying to get the game out.
They need,
and when they sell, all right. So next up, we have the big news of the week. So I'm gonna kind of briefly go over what happened here for everyone that doesn't know. So essentially, Epic Games made an update to their Fortnite game on the iOS and Google Play App Store. What they did was they unlinked the payment service from the stores, and they put in their own payment service in the game. So whereas before, if you wanted to buy like a battle pass or whatever, a costume, you would Apple and Google would get a cut, which I believe is 30%. And so Fortnite was like, no. We're gonna allow players to buy it directly from us, so we get 100% of the profit. So the game is, I believe, free to play. Um, and so because of this, Apple and Google just kind of don't get money anymore off the game. So immediately, Apple kicked off Fortnite, and then Epic sued them immediately, which that tells me something. That tells me that they knew they knew this was going to happen because they had a lawsuit already. They had a lawsuit ready in hand. So they put the update up. They got kicked off the Apple Store. They sued Apple immediately, and then Google did the same thing and kicked them off as well. So here's the thing: you can still get the game from the Epic Game website, I believe. You can download it to your phone and still play it. The Play Store and the App Store, they're kind of locked down ecosystems, but you can still install third-party software on your phone, right? So you could still play the game. You just have to get it from them. You can't get it from the store. And so let's kind of discuss. I mean, what do you think about it?
I think that Epic doesn't want to pay Apple and Google money.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me.
To be honest, it just looks like Epic doesn't like the rules that are in place, the terms of
Hmm.
service for the Apple and Google stores, and they want to rebel against it. I think this is a losing battle, and
Yeah,
they don't really have a claim.
yeah. Now, I do want to say that I'm not. I think Apple and Google engage in monopolistic behavior quite often. I think that's pretty well documented. Um, but at the same time, this is their platform, right?
Yes.
Anyone can make a platform. And here's the thing that is hypocritical to me. Epic Games has their own platform. They have their own platform where people sell games.
Yeah, but they don't have a mobile platform like,
No, they don't have a mobile platform, but
and
they do have their own
that's where
platform.
billions of customers are.
Yeah, they do have their own platform, and so they have millions of players at their disposal already. Or you know what I'm saying? Like they already have millions of players. Like they have so much money. It just seems like you said, they're trying to rebel. And now, don't get me wrong. I'm not like defending Apple or Google here. Like I could care less if they get less money from Fortnite. But what I'm saying is that I'm not crying a river for Epic Games. You know, I'm not crying a river for Epic Games at all because I just think that like uh, they chose this battle.
Not just that, but they chose the battle. But I feel like the way that they are engaging in the public discourse, they're like, "We're the little guy. Rally with
That,
us. Free hashtag free Fortnite." It's like Fortnite
yeah,
free, bruh. But
they're not the little guy. They're a huge company.
yeah, I mean, I'd read at least in 2018 there was a Forbes article that said that out of the average player, they made $85 each out of an average player,
Yeah.
and they've got billions of players. Like
Yes.
it's insane. It's
Yeah.
insane. They're not the little guy. These are corporations against corporations. They're trying to
Yeah.
say, hey, you know, we're just trying to like lower the amount, the price for the consumer. It's like, no, you're not. You're
No.
not. You just want all the money for yourself.
Yeah. And let's be real here. Uh, Epic Games has been under fire for basically jacking dance moves from anyone that they can and putting them in their game and selling
Yeah,
them.
copyright.
Yeah, they've been under fire for dubious practices for a long time now, and I mean they're constantly getting sued for stuff that they do now. Um, that's why I'm not crying a river. Now I do want to say one thing that does bother me really is that they're trying, like you said, they're trying to play the guy here. They're trying to play the victim, and they're trying to activate their
base.
player base, which is a lot of young people, and these young kids, they feel like because Fortnite is such a big part of their life, it's such a big cultural phenomenon. They feel like maybe they're under attack. No, they're not under attack. You can still get the game. You can still play the game. Don't buy into this corporate, victimhood. They're not a victim. They still make all the money. They still get all your money. Like this is not what they're making it out to be at all.
I
This is
agree.
not what they're making. Yeah.
I agree.
So
And rallying your player base, has quite a considerable amount of young people.
yeah,
I think that's dirty.
it is dirty.
I think that's
It
dirty.
is dirty.
We're trying to engage in a Twitter mob and do a trial by public against
Yeah.
Apple and Google.
Yeah. So look, I'm not the biggest Apple and Google fan. Just to tell you how much I'm skeptical of them, I run my own platform of cloud apps on my own server. Like I have my own Google, software apps that I run. That's how much I'm like conscious of what they do. But even I can see this is just BS. You know what I mean? This is just BS. And the propaganda film that Epic made, where it like mimicked an old Apple commercial.
It was an old Apple commercial that was taking the some of the viewpoints of 1984,
Yeah,
and pretty much it was a commercial against IBM.
yeah,
And now Epic is doing the same thing, but using that 1984 reference against Apple, and saying
yes,
they're holding the monopoly. Which, yeah,
yeah,
granted, it's their service, but what you're doing, you're playing. You're just upset that the rules aren't playing in your favor, and you don't want to play the
yeah,
game anymore, but you want to be a part of it.
yeah. And what about all the indie developers? Are you gonna stand up for them?
Nope.
Are you going No. No, you're just worried about your bottom line, and this is not going to do anything for those indie developers. Now, um, obviously, there's a lawsuit in place, so we have to see how this plays out. But I will say this: all the big tech giants just testified in front of Congress for monopolistic behavior, and they only like a few Congress people asked them hard questions. So I don't really see, much going on here.
When Congress decided that corporations are people, I lost a lot of faith in anything that they're able to
Yeah,
do.
yeah. Citizens United ruined this country in a lot of ways. Um,
So I mean,
yeah,
if you expect something, I don't know, keep dreaming.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, yeah. With that out of the way, I have some good rumors here with
Some
evidence.
juicy rumors.
BioShock 4. So apparently, there's a BioShock 4 job listing, which confirms next gen development. Um, so for those, okay, first of all, BioShock is one of the most
Pre-air.
awesome video game franchises ever.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. And so let me just kind of go over here. So the obviously there's job listings. So this is not an unfounded rumor. This is built on evidence. Um, Apparently, it's being developed by Cloud Chamber for 2K games. Now, just a little backdrop: BioShock Infinite came out 7 years ago under Irrational Games, and Irrational Games ended up doing a complete rebranding. So their studio doesn't even, it has nothing to do with BioShock anymore. And I remember when that happened because
Was
everybody
Ted,
was kind of,
Ted Levine?
yeah, Ted Levine, he did it. Um, Everybody was like, what's going to happen with BioShock now? Like, we were all kind of worried that the game would be lost in obscurity, but I mean, this is promising, you know?
I don't know. Did you like
Yeah.
BioShock Infinite?
So BioShock Infinite was not as good as BioShock 1 and 2. I'll say that.
If anything, BioShock Infinite to me, it like pretty much stated that this was a really cool original thing that doesn't need to become a formula.
Yeah, yeah.
So the BioShock 4 news is bittersweet to me in that I'm interested to see what they might do, but at the same time, like I really enjoyed BioShock 1 and 2. I thought those were great, and those were BioShock Infinite not so much. I didn't really care for it as much, even with the time traveling tie-in.
Yeah. Yeah, BioShock 1 and 2, those are the games that I think of when I think of BioShock. And those are the games that I would want to revisit. You know what I mean?
Yes,
So, yeah. Um, so yeah, if they make it anything like 1 and 2, then yeah, that'll be awesome. Um,
but
all right.
they set a new fantastical setting. So
Yeah, new fantastical. Yeah. I would say if it was like 1 and 2 via the environment. The environment of 1 and 2,
like
you
something
know that
claustrophobic
yeah, yeah, like you're stuck on a ship and
or
yeah.
underwater
Yeah.
habitat.
And there's murderous creatures after you.
Dude.
Um
BioShock was so good. Now I really want to revisit it.
yeah. Um okay, so the final piece of news. SNK is releasing their own console or not console, their own arcade cabinet. So, you know, I like to cover anything regarding retro gaming here. So let me just kind of go over this. So first of all, it's expensive, $500. Now you have these arcade one-up cabinets, and I actually have one behind me. I have a Marvel Superheroes one. Now there's this cabinet was around $400, and it has 3 games on it. All right. So this cabinet's selling for 500, and it has 50 games on it. So that is quite a big difference in what you can play. Now it has both MVS and AES mode. So MVS is the arcade mode, and AES is the home console mode.
Mm-hmm.
So look at all these games, man. They have King of
Digging
Fighters.
that Metal Slug love,
Yeah, they got Metal Slug.
but only up to X,
Um,
not double X.
yeah, they have Samurai Showdown. They have Fatal Fury. Real Bout. I have this on Sega Saturn.
Oh, they got Garo,
Um,
Mark of the Wolves.
yes, yeah, and funny enough, they limited run just sold that for PS4.
Yep.
I think I bought a copy.
I did not.
Um,
I ended up skipping it, but maybe in the near future, I'll get up.
Art of Fighting. They have Sengoku 1 through 3. Baseball Stars. This is actually a pretty cool game. Top Player Golf. So yeah, I mean,
The Last Blade. That game is awesome.
yeah,
That-
yeah. I actually just recently got a Neo Geo. I have a consoleized version, and yeah. So, I mean, I think it. I obviously I wouldn't get it because I have a Neo Geo arcade machine that I can hook up to a TV and play. Um, but like if I didn't have this thing right here, I would consider it because 50 games. I mean, that's a far cry from 3.
It is.
Yeah,
It is. The price is a little prohibitive though,
yeah,
and I would need to really, really see the build quality.
yes.
And the reason being is that is this the same company that did the Neo Geo Mini? Because the Neo Geo Mini
It wasn't that great.
not a good.
It wasn't that great.
This is not a good piece of hardware.
No, it was.
It,
Yeah,
and you've seen the Metal Jesus Rocks video where he even asked, he's like, "Where's the clicky buttons?"
yeah,
And his clicky thumbsticks is hard to make or something like that. It's like what?
yeah, yeah.
So like I would really need to see like a deep dive into the build quality of
Yes,
this to even warrant justifying the
yeah.
price.
I would need to see.
Just 50 games is not enough.
It's yeah.
That build quality's got to be there.
So these things here, I believe they use MAME to emulate the games. And
Yes.
MAME is like 99% accurate to the arcade.
Yes.
So they would have to use either MAME or a proprietary emulator that has to be at least 99% accurate to the original. And that's, for me, that would be the only way it would be worth it. And also, one thing about the Neo Geo Mini, it had like a weird blurring on the graphics. Did you notice that when you hooked it up via HDMI to like a TV?
I canceled my
Okay,
pre-order. I never picked it.
okay. The picture on the screen was sharp, but when you blew it up, it looked horrible. It was like it was kind of blurry. It wasn't sharp at all. So
I think it was admirable what they were trying to do, by having that like portability, but also the portability didn't make much sense because they didn't have it so that you could play it portable. You actually had to be connected to a
yeah,
outlet
there was no
still.
battery in it.
But it was really cool. The idea,
Yeah,
just the implementation left a lot to be desired.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'm with you. I would have to see the quality of the emulation, the quality of the graphics, and the build quality of the cabinet. But yeah, it does look cool. All right, so last up, new releases. So there's a game in here that you and me are interested in. So let me kind of go through these. Death End Request 2. Do you know what this game is?
Not really. I think it's one of those visual novel types, but I could be wrong.
Okay. It says it's an RPG for PS4 and PC.
Oh, okay.
And Microsoft Flight Simulator. I know a lot.
That's the one that we're both excited for.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of people, like hardcore Flight Simulator fans, who are excited for this. Mortal Shell. This is a game. So I downloaded the demo for this, and I played it, and it was. I kind of talked about it in the last episode, I believe. But I mean, what do you think? Are you interested in getting this game? I definitely am.
I am definitely interested, mostly because it is, and I know this is overplayed, but it really is Dark Souls
Yeah.
like. But there's no physical copy, so I will wait.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Pathfinder
How about you?
Kingmaker.
How about you? Are you gonna get a day one?
Um, I'm debating. I'm kind of busy right now, so I think I might also try to. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it, but I think I might try to wait for a physical release as well.
Yeah, and we already have a day one purchase coming up in the next week.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Pathfinder Kingmaker. Have you played any of these?
No, I think that it's based off of a tabletop RPG. I just haven't. I don't know. Nothing about it has enticed me to play them. I don't even know how they play.
Okay, so this looks like it's a definitive edition of the game. So, Battletoads. This one, I was hoping it would look better than it does. I'm, I'm kind of hesitant on it. Like, I don't like the art style at all, man. I mean, what do you think about it?
I remember renting Battletoads for my Sega Genesis back on from
Uh,
Blockbuster. So that ages me, and I hated that effing game.
oh, okay,
So
okay,
so I'm not gonna even touch this
okay.
game.
It is a frustrating game. I will say that.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
No matter how cool the art style was, how Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles esque it
yeah.
was.
PGA Tour 2K21. I know you've been waiting for this.
I have, and I'm actually gonna buy 5 copies.
Um, Samurai Jack. Now this game actually looks cool as hell.
It looks just like the show.
It does. It's an action adventure game. So we were talking about this. I ordered the limited run version of the game.
Did you get the big collector's edition with the Samurai Jack figure?
Nah, I just, you know me. I don't get those. I just bought the
Unless they're really cool.
yeah. Now, did you get it?
No, I didn't. I actually, Samurai Jack is one of those things that fell on the wayside. I never really watched the show.
Okay.
It looks cool. It looks like right up my alley. I just never really gave it a chance.
Yeah, yeah. So I was a big Cartoon Network kid growing up.
Mm.
Dexter's Lab, Samurai Jack, Johnny Bravo, and Powerpuff Girls. So
Powerpuff Cool. I did watch that.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited for it. I bought the one for Switch. So yeah. So that's it for this week, everyone. Let us, if you have any comments, let us know what you think in the comment section. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you all next time.
Keep gaming and take care.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching this episode of Games I Speak. If you liked the episode, please subscribe and leave a comment below, and we'll see you all next time.